Okay, so to ensure that we have a good webinar session, if you just look to the screen, a couple of ground rules to review. So let's all make sure that our lines are muted. And then additionally, I wanted to go over some of the chat features that you can use to post questions. So within your Teams page, at the top right, you will see the chat bubble. So if you click on that chat bubble, you can submit a question that you may have using that chat feature. We also have the interactive feature, which is right next to the chat box. So you can do a thumbs up. So I'm going to do it so you can see, or you can use the raise hand feature, okay, to let me know that you have a question. And then that way I'll see that you want to post a question and I can respond to it appropriately. And just to remove if you use the hands raised, just to remove it, click back on it again, and then it will disappear from your screen. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. And in this slide, I'm going to cover the gender. Also, before I get into the agenda, I want to let you know if there are any questions that are proposed during this webinar session that may require research, we will get back to you as soon as possible following the training session. Okay, so the agenda for today. So we're first going to go over a couple of Oscar updates, which includes the Oscar dates for Rising 3Ls. So we're going to review the applicant access date as well as the applicant release date. Next, the review session is where the demonstration will actually start. So I will first begin the session by demonstrating the changes that were made to the LSA interface. Then I will cover the changes that have been made to the recommender as well as the applicant interface. And then there will be another opportunity to ask any questions that you did not present during the course of the training. So you will get another opportunity at the conclusion of the training to ask any additional questions that you may have. Okay, so let's start with the Oscar updates for Rising 3Ls. So as your new students are embarking upon their new year, and they are interested in applying to clerkship position on Oscar, I want to first go over the applicant access dates here. So with the applicant access dates, and this is specific to students who entered law school in 2020 with the expected graduation date of 2023. So as of February the 2nd, those applicants have obtained access to Oscar. So at this point, they can begin uploading application documents and searching for position or creating draft applications. So again, I'm speaking of the applicants excuse me, that entered law school in 2020. Now, the application release dates. So for those students, again, speaking in reference to our 2020 students with the expected graduation date of 2023, their applications will be released for judges to review on June the 13th, 2020. At this time, at this point, judges will not seek out applicants in regards to their applications, or they will not directly or indirectly begin to invite them for an interview. And that date will not begin until June the 14th, 2022. So the applications will be released to the judge on June the 13th, 2022, but they will not seek to contact the applicants until June the 14th of 2022. If there are no questions pertaining to the Oscar release dates, I'm going to move into setting up the screen for the demonstration so we can start reviewing the enhancements that were made to the user interface, specifically the LSAs and recommenders and applicants. Okay, so let me just make sure everyone can see my screen. I'm now in an Oscar account. So if you can, a few of you, if you could give me a thumbs up, letting me know that my screen is visible. Sometimes when you're working with 3 monitors, thank you, appreciate it. Wonderful. Okay. Okay. So, all right, this is the good stuff. So let's get into the changes made to the LSA interface. So the first one is the option for LSAs to recall accidentally rejected AGD requests. So AGD stands for alternate graduation date. So you can actually respond to those requests you receive from students from your home page, or from the left navigation, you can click the drop down arrow next to applicants and then go to the AGD students tab. So I'm going to use the one on the home page. And within this tab, AGD students, any students at your specific law school that have submitted AGD requests will appear here on your screen. So for instance, Karen submitted an AGD request. So right from your home screen, from your AGD student screen, you can approve or reject this request by selecting one of the buttons. You can also approve or reject by selecting the drop-down arrow next to batch options. But you must first check that individual's name, then go up to batch options and select approve or reject. Okay, so let me deselect her name. Now, to recall an accidentally rejected AGD request. So I'm going to use Lisa as my example here. Simply click on that student's name. And then once you are in that student's alternate graduation date page, you can select approve and then go back to the applicants list by selecting the applicants tab. And when we go back to Lisa, okay, AGD tab, let me go back to there. And when we go back to Lisa, right here on my screen, you can see that her initial rejected request has been updated to approved. So you now have the option to change the status of a AGD request that you may have accidentally rejected when your intentions was to approve that request. I also want to mention, because I know I have LSAs on that have different user rights. So there are LSAs that have full admin rights, which is the administrator user rights. Then there are admins that have manage recommender only. And then the last one is view only. So the steps that I just performed, the ability to recall or approve AGD request is limited to LSAs with administrative rights only. So if you have a manage recommender user right or view only right, you will not be able to respond to AGD request. The next update that was made, which it's basically informational, it's not something that can be demonstrated, is re-emphasizing the fact that LSAs with administrator rights, you will be the only groups notified of AGD requests. Prior to this enhancement, we were informed that users with manage recommender rights and view only rights could also see AGD notifications. So the system has been corrected to fix that, to limit it only to administrators with full admin access. Okay. Now for my law school administrators that support recommenders, such as faculty recommenders with uploading letters of recommendations on their behalf. Well, for recommenders, I will say that it's now easy for you to navigate through the system. Now, it still takes a minute to respond to your request, but they repaired the recommenders page so you can easily navigate through the system. And so, for instance, I'm on a recommender page right now. So if I was in here editing Nicholas' account, so I'm going to select edit. And let's say I'm navigating through various pages within Nicholas' account. Before, you had to click the cancel button to keep going all the way back to get back just to the recommenders page. Now, if you select the recommenders tab, and again, the system is going to process my request. But if there's a question at this time, please take this opportunity to present it in the chat. So there we go. Now I am right back to the recommenders page without having to keep selecting cancel to get back to this page. So that was one of the changes that was made to the recommenders interface. It's made to the recommenders interface, but accessible to you from your LSA account. The next change is under the judicial directory. So I'm going to select the judicial directory and I'm going to go to judges. So here under the judicial directory, you can see a list of judges that are participating or not participating within OSCAR. The enhancement that was made is if you want to search for a judge by their judge types, or I'm sorry, if you want to filter this list by judge types, click on the arrow next, the drop-down arrow next to judge types. And then now you can select multiple judge types at one time and select apply. And then the system will populate the list of all those judge types that you selected. Previously, you had to perform this functionality one at a time. So that's the additional enhancement that was made to the LSA interface. Okay, just checking my list to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so that is all of the enhancements that were made to the LSA interface. Now I'm going to go to the changes that were made to the recommenders interface. So in order for me to demonstrate this enhancement, I'm going to actually log in as a recommender. So right now, I've selected recommenders from the left navigation of my LSA homepage. Okay, and I'm going to use Nicholas for this example. So if you are, and I'm going to click log in as, so I can now become Nicholas. So what's going to happen is the system is going to ask you to confirm that you wish to navigate away from your account and become this user. So I'm going to select OK. And now we're at Nicholas, the recommenders homepage. So at this point, if you are an LSA and you are uploading a letter of recommendation on behalf of a recommender, the change that was made is that when you have completed the process of uploading your letter, you will now be notified that your letter has been updated successfully, and it will appear right here in the top part of your screen. So it happens pretty quickly, so everybody pay close attention to the screen. So I'm going to create a test letter, and my template type will be judge. And I'm just going to select the option to upload a file. All right, so let me browse and just going to check a document. And in case you're wondering, the approved documents that are acceptable is a PDF or a Word document. All right, so I'm going to say upload to complete this function. And there it is, document uploaded. So now you don't have to wonder if your letter has been successfully uploaded. The system will now notify you that your letter has been uploaded. Okay, and that was the change made as far as for the recommender. Okay, so if there are no questions about what has been covered so far at this point, now I'm going to spend time demonstrating the enhancement that was made to the applicant interface, because I know a lot of my LSAs support applicants with applying to clerkship positions or staff attorney positions within OSCAR. So this is informative for you all, so you are aware of the changes that were made to the applicant interface. So now I'm going to have to remind myself I want to go back to my admin page so I can get to my applicants list. Okay, so it's processing my request. There we go. So now I'm back to my LSA homepage. So I'm on my LSA account. And I keep emphasizing that because I know when I'm navigating through accounts, I sometimes forget what hat I am wearing when I become another user. So that's why I keep emphasizing where I am in the process. Okay. So let's go to applicants. So one of the changes that were made for applicants is they now have the option to participate in the voluntary self-identification process. So I'm going to show you what that looks like from an actual applicant's account. So I'm going down to the applicants list from the applicants tab, and I'm going to choose my test applicant Lisa here to demonstrate this. And I need to log in as Lisa so you can see this change. So from Lisa, the applicant's homepage, when you go to my profile under the profile tab and select edit and scroll down because it's located close to the end of the profile page. And here is where you now have here where students now have the option to participate in a voluntary self-identification. So it's a nice explanation here that explains the purpose of collecting this information. Again, it is optional. Now, for new students, this will appear immediately as they are registering for an Oscar account. Any current applicants that wish to participate in the voluntary self-identification, they will need to log in to their account, go to the profile, and then click edit and scroll down to that section, and then they can participate in the survey. So that's one change so far for applicants. Now the citizenship was previously, so the section where applicants had to identify their citizenship. So previously it was located in like the My Profile section. Now that has been relocated to, okay, now that has been relocated to, and I'm going to show you something different here. Drag this over. So when a new applicant goes to register and they click on register, the citizenship question is now located on step 1 of their register form. So again, it was relocated from the profile section and it's now a part of the first step the applicant must complete when they are first creating an applicant account. Now, the moving right along into the next change for the applicants, and that is the ability of ordering their writing samples. So I'm still logged in as Lisa, my applicant. I'm going to go down to the Documents tab. So when applicants are uploading their required documents so they can prepare to apply to position, one of those requirements is the writing sample. So from here, I'm going to use as my example so you can see how they can now order it. I'm going to actually add a test writing sample document. So you're going to enter my document type. And although other document types appear, this option of ordering documents specifically to writing sample is only for writing samples. So applicants can't order their writings, for example, their resume, because some like to upload more than one resume. Okay, so I'm going to make this test. I wasn't even done. Hold on for a second. There we go. All right. So I'm going to label this test. And right in this section where it says writing sample ordering. So it basically directs the applicant to enter the number corresponding to their letter. So I'm going to make this number 1. So this is the writing sample I want to appear first. And going to upload a PDF or a Word document. Let me see what I have. available to me here. Okay, so I'm going to upload my document. Then you can click upload or save. I always do upload. And then now I'm on the documents, back to the documents tab. So I'm going to filter this list so you can see how it orders. So I select writing sample, and right next to my writing sample, you can see right here where I'm wanding over, you can see the order of my document. So my test T is listed first, then writing sample 2 is number 2, and writing sample, the last one, is listed as number 3. So that's how applicants can now order their writing sample. All right. Any questions so far about changes made to the applicant's interface? Okay, just peeking at the chat. All right, wonderful. So I'll continue. So now I'm going to go over into the positions tab. Again, I'm still logged in as an applicant, so I'm logged in as Lisa. And I'm going to go through the changes that were made to the positions page. So positions, all positions. So one of the change, if you can recall, there used to be an option for one particular system tags, which is interested. So that system tag has now been removed. However, the custom tag still remains, so applicants still have the feasibility to create custom tags and use them. They can just grab the tag and drag and drop it right over onto the position. So they still have the accessibility of doing that. Give me, oh, okay, thanks. I see Mike has that question. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is, the tags are now color coded. So that's wonderful. The color coded backgrounds. And I will show you more of the various different color coded backgrounds when I get to the applicants tab and review those changes. So the other changes that were made for applicants in the positions page is the batch options feature. So applicants can now choose to create an Excel file for any position or positions that they are interested in, maybe creating a report for. So the way to perform that functionality is check one of the clerkship positions or staff attorney positions, the box next to it. Select the drop down next to batch options, and then select the option save as Excel. So applicants will have the option to save the entire list, their selected items, or the entire page. So once they select one of the 3 options from here, then you can see that it will start downloading my request. And then once the download is complete, the file can be accessed right here from the downloads tab. And I can click on it to show you what it actually will look like. See if I can get it to open. And then I'll drag it over so you can see what it can look like once it appears. Okay, and it's complete. So, and also I want to mention that this option is too available to you within the LSA interface. So at this point, you can see that it created my list, my Excel file. So from here, it makes it easily reviewable for the applicant, or again, if they are trying to keep track of the positions they applied for, this was a good feature for them to use, as well as for LSAs as well. Okay. So I'll close that. And then when applicants apply to a position, so I'm going to click on a position here, and they select apply online, they are now prompted to inform us how they found out about the position. So that's a new question that was added to the application process. And if they, for instance, select option judiciary website, an additional drop down will appear where they're asked to identify what judiciary website. So if they found it, for example, on Oscar, then they can enter Oscar right here in that section. All right, so I'm going to cancel this because I don't want to actually apply to this position. Okay. All right, so let me check. And all right, so that's all of the changes for applicants for the position side. Now I'm going to move into showing you the changes that were made to the applicant side, the applications side of the applicant's interface. So in order for me to demonstrate that, I will click on applications. And then here, now I mentioned how the system tags and custom tags, and yes, the system tags and custom tags are now color coded. So they will appear in their assigned color background, as you see listed here in this example that I'm wanting over. They will also be notified if they have draft applications for positions, but did not complete the application process for that position. So for instance, if the status of that position changes, they will also be able to see that, excuse me, from their from their application page. So in this example, you have AA Judge Oscar test position that Lisa applied for. So it's telling us that her application is in draft mode and the position is still available. And then it's telling you her actual graduation status, which this is an AGD student. And then the next tab is the position type in which Lisa is in the process of applying for. Now underneath, so Judge AA Judge has more than one position posted. So he has one with a 1-year term and then a second position posting that has a 2-year term. So Lisa applied to both. However, the second position with the 2-year term has now been filled, but Lisa's application status is still in draft. So what the system upgrade now includes that it will prevent applicants from applying to filled positions where they still have a application status of draft. Now I'm pointing out these links down here at the bottom. So there's two here, delete and edit. So because the first judge position with the clerkship term ending December 6, 2025 is still available, Lisa has the option to click edit and continue with fulfilling the application process. Whereas for Judge AA's second position with the term end date of December 01, 2024, notice how the edit button is not there for Lisa to select. So this will prevent her from continuing the process of applying for a position that has now been filled. Any questions about that? Okay, wonderful. So to move forward, the system will now prevent applicants from selecting their withdrawn application. So if they withdrew their application from a position, as you see here in this demonstration, and you may not be able to see it as well from my screen, but this box is grayed out, and notice I can't click in it. I can click in this box, the position before it, but I am not allowed to click in the position for Judge Connolly. And that's because this applicant withdrew their application from this position. So that's an additional enhancement that was made to the applicant's phase interface. The other enhancement was the ability to hover over the icons from their main screen and see the status of their recommendation. So for instance, if I hover over the icon with the L, it tells the applicant that the status of their recommendation for this position was completed. Now, it will also show if applicants have a pending recommendation status or if the recommendation status was denied. So here, when I hover over the L that's slightly grayed out, that is indicating that that recommendation status is pending. You can also refer to your handouts that I sent you to see more examples of those as well. All right, so, and then the final change for the applicants is they too have the ability of filtering their judge list by multiple judge types. So they can perform the same functionality that you can as an LSA with filtering their list to show multiple judge types. Okay, so Oscar, all right, so just checking to make sure that I've reviewed all the enhancements that were made. And that's actually all of them for this demonstration for today. So the demonstration at this point is now concluded. I'm going to open up the form again for those of you that's in attendance to ask any questions that you may have. I see that there was one in the chat, and thank you, Mike, for jumping on top of that one. All right, I'm going to bring my PowerPoint presentation back up real quickly just to go over some final closing remarks. Okay, so that's this file. Okay, come on. It's uploading. All right, I don't see any other questions. Okay. Again, just checking the chat to see if anybody posted any questions. Giving you a final opportunity to ask any questions you may have thought of during this session. I also want to point out that we do have resources available to you. So from your homepage, you can access the About Oscar tab as well as the Training Resources tab. We have been updating our videos to include the 2.0 release. So in your free time, take a time to review those. They are a nice refresher, as well as the About Oscar tab. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to hang around for a few more minutes, just in case you have some questions that you've thought of. Thank you everyone for attending. I appreciate you. And let me remind myself to stop the recording.